Hi, welcome to the Wandering Peacock, and this is the second tutorial of the hot tub. It's been a few years, and I've noticed that guests have further questions and things have changed a little bit. First off, we removed the damper because we really found that guests were forgetting to use it correctly, and it just wasn't necessary. We also put in a pump, so you don't have to hand circulate it anymore, which is great. Another thing is that guests sometimes have issues with what they do with the lid. Now, you could leave the lid off, and that's not the best solution, but it's okay. But the ideal way of making this maximize the airflow is by leaving on like this, if you want to see, behind to the right of this metal plate right here. So you could see in right there, there's a metal plate. And the reason you want it to be like that is because the airflow goes in like this and it goes up, in and up. So another question is, how much wood do you put in here? So you really want to shove a lot of wood in when it's cold. So it really has to do with if it's preheated or if the water is cold. So if it's preheated and it's kind of a little bit warm, maybe fill it up halfway, kind of see about how it's warming up. But if it's cold and you want to get it running really fast, if you're checking in and it's cold water, shove as much wood in as possible and just get that fire going strong. Another thing is you start the fire with kindling and these starters. So I'll show you where the starters are. The starters we keep here. And what you want to do is you just take 3. Don't take any more than 3. And you light them. And they just kind of burn and they sustain the fire for a while just to light the fire up. So you don't need any paper. What you do is you just light those and then you make kindling on top of it. So come back over here. With the hot tub and the sauna, we have a kindling maker. So the wood for the hot tub's over here, and you kind of have to find the right piece of wood for the kindling maker. And the way you do that is wood like this is definitely not ideal. You look for wood that is kind of straight in grain. So this is really an ideal piece. So you put it here on the block and you don't put your hands on it. Don't do this. You lean it against the metal. So it has this ring for support system. And you just go like this. And you want to start off each fire with smaller pieces. And you get bigger as you go. So as you can see, it leans right against it. So when you get smaller, you just lean against the tip right here. And to start the fire, you want pieces like this. You can even go a little bit smaller, but it's not. So you want to start the fire with pieces in between this and this on top of the starters. So you put the starters in there, and then you kind of like have the starter leaning, and then you just lay it on top, and you put you want to make sure there's enough airflow for the air to go to rise up, but it's also catching. So it's a little bit of if you don't know how to start fires, it's a little bit of a learning curve. And what you do is when you first start, you kind of have to monitor everything. So I would say be here to make the fire and give probably 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how well you are with lighting fires. And then from this size, you get to like this size, and you just kind of put it on top of each other, and then go to something half of this, and then you put this on top of that, and you just, in that 15 minutes, you want to make sure the fire keeps on going, and then you keep on stacking it until you get to something crazy like a log. So I would put something like this on top of this, on top of all of the fire I created, especially if I want it to sustain a length of time, because this will take a while. Logs take a while to burn down. So they're really great because they take a long time. So if you are, let's say you start this fire with a bunch of kindling and smaller pieces, but you want to go out to eat, you can possibly put on a few logs like this, and it will burn slower and hotter over time. So you want to gradually get to the point where you're using a big piece. And that's the ideal way of making fires. So yeah, that should be it for the hot tub. Enjoy. And oh, another thing, which is, I think, common sense, but you never know. Don't touch this. It gets super, super hot, and it's kind of dangerous. So be careful. This is a fire at the end of the day. This gets hot. This you can hold with your hand because it has a system where it's a little bit cooler. This is hot. So just be careful when using. There's a guard right here because it can get a little hot on this side of the fire. So enjoy, and I hope this is useful. Even if you don't come to stay with us, maybe it's useful for if you want a hot tub like this and what you're getting yourself into, or if you want to try one somewhere else. Thank you.